Hi, dear friends. Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are enjoying the new year, the third year of 2024. And I hope you guys are learning great and earning great, and also following the tips which I have given in the previous videos. And I hope those tips were very useful. So before going to start today's newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share it with your friends. It may be useful for somebody to utilize the opportunities from the Aksharadhari and the team. So let's start reading the newspaper The Hindu, which is very, very important for the point of competitive exams. Let's start reading the newspaper The Hindu, the front page. This is the front page highlights. So Congress seeks more time to express concerns. Tal rises to 48. Rescue operations continue. Next thing, Bhopal rally sent wrong message. The global nuclear hurdle is under strain. Changing geopolitics adds to the pressure. India looks to strike back in a second test. Just burst into flames after collision with a relief plane in Tokyo 5 date. MHA seeks to pacify truckers protesting in new hit and run law. Will invoke a new panel section only after consultations with the All India Motor Transport Congress. Union Home Secretary Ajay Balla. City police registered 68,518 cases last year. No vendetta politics in the arrest of car Sevak. Rahul slams government for enacting laws without consultations. Stick to procedure in counter-terror Operation Shaw. Rollout schedule of three new criminal codes will be notified by January 26. Free movement regime to hand at a Myanmar border. JN1 a surge audit finds COVID-19 to be incidental in 9 deaths in Karnataka. BMTC to provide feeder buses and permanent lease to firms, factories from April 1st. Various kinds of BMTC buses, including MIDI, ordinary Volvo, and two kinds of e-buses, will be leased. 16 departure delays are reported at KIA. Chitra Sante to be held on January 7th. Modi Trust, CUPA set up dedicated community scatter sterilization center. This. Sudha Murthy and Aparna Krishnan, President Murthy Media, inaugurate the Community Cat Sterilization Center in Bangalore. Man who posed as Lokayukta officer to extort money held. 34-year-old class Trend Dapot is a habitual offender involved in multiple house break-in cases in Andhra Pradesh and in and around Bangalore. BAW SSP to hold Wata Adalat tomorrow. Bureau of Indian Standards Bangalore celebrating its 77th Foundation Day. Faculty to keep with its growth. Government at your doorstep. HC adjourns Mall of Asia petition till Friday. Court directs police not to take any precipitative action against the mall. Union Minister Lords RRI for a role in Exposat mission. Defective number plates, 1.13 lakh cases booked in 3 months. In July 2022, the police began to install AI-based enforcement cameras across Bengaluru to keep a watch on traffic violators. Mysore sculptures kin delighted to achievement. Christ University Education Care for Fear Daksha on January 5th and 6th. City police registered 68,518 cases last year, up from 46,187 in 2022. Data released by the police shows a significant rise in narcotics seizures registered in Bangalore city. State reports another COVID death on 48 new cases. CCP arrested drug peddler. Regional level pension Adalat on January 17th. COVID-19 Karnataka Health Department to soon direct doctors to focus on targeted treatment of comorbidities. Comorbidities. Here is the recruitment opportunities like which the vacancies are vacant. The recruitment notifications is here. You guys can check and apply as per your interest. About 400 applications to withdraw cases are before government, says Home Ministry. Parameshwarat says decision to withdraw cases is taken by cabinet subcommittee headed by him and based on recommendations of officials. All odd hold cases are being reviewed across state, he adds. Canara Bank opens data and analytics center. Siddaramaya rules out vendetta politics is arrest of car Sevak. Meeting of Karnataka NRI Forum held in Jeddah. State plans to double its millets export, building on international trade fair. Minister asks officials to remove encroachment on 2 lakh acres of forest land. Government may set a deadline to return wildlife trophies. JP CEOs asked to visit Taluk centers GPS every month. State plans to double its millets export, building on international trade fair. KSDL's manufacture of detergents at an all-time high. This marks the highest production in the past 40 years. A workable, sustainable mobility agenda for 2024 for Bengaluru. Unplanned or poorly planned projects are a recipe for chaos and disaster. The recent chaos at the new Mall of Asia of Airport Road is a classic example and a warning for future. IITB Bangalore, IIT Bangalore introduced a dual class certification program. Startups invited to apply for Agriculture Grand Challenge 2. C Camp has invited startups to apply before January 31st to get an investment of 25 to 50 lakh. A realistic take on marriage. Athi I Love You was made on emotions and without taking sides, says director Lokendra Surya. Purely classical, come lop long. Discussing India's shrinking multiculturalism, an Asian feast for the ages. Coco Bengaluru's menu with over 140 dishes requires multiple visits to the restaurant if it has to be explored entirely. Minister retracts remarks on bishops as Saji Cherian withdraws his earlier statement that bishops and church leaders are gripped with excitement on receiving invitations from PM. He says issues such as violence in Manipur should have been mentioned at the Christmas celebrations. Congress leaders booked for a siege of police station near Ernakulam. Centre's allocation to Tamil Nadu increased 2.5 times during BJP rule, says Modi. TDB to stop spot booking for Sabrimala from January 10th. PM Modi reaches Lakshadweep on a 2-day visit. Trophy for champions. Mentor a student initiative to train student for TOEFL. Alleged gang rape of 17-year-old sparks outrage in Vishakhapatnam. APHC adjourns a CM camp office case to weather systems to bring rain over parts of Tamil Nadu. The global nuclear order is under strain. Let's read this editorial page written by the former diplomat. To gain legitimacy, any global order needs to fulfill two conditions. First, a convergence among the major powers of the day, and second, successfully presenting the outcome as a global public good to the rest of the world. The global nuclear order was no exception, but today it is under strain. Lessons of the Cold War. The GNO was created in the shadow of the Cold War with the US and the USSR leading the Western and the socialist blocs, respectively. following the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, when the two came perilously close to launching a nuclear war. Both US President John F. Kennedy and General Secretary Nikita Khrushchev understood two political realities. First, as the two nuclear superpowers, they needed a bilateral mechanisms to prevent tensions from escalating to the nuclear level. And second, nuclear weapons are dangerous and therefore their spread should be curbed. This convergence created the GNO. During the Cuban crisis, a secret back channel between President Kennedy's brother Robert Kennedy and a Soviet ambassador and Anatoly Dobrynin helped to resolve the crisis. The first bilateral measure was the hotline, established in 1963 to enable the leaders to communicate directly. The hotline, later upgraded into nuclear risk reduction centers, was followed by arms control negotiations as the two nuclear superpowers started to manage their nuclear arms race and maintain strategic stability. To control proliferation, the US and the USSR initiated multilateral negotiations in Geneva in 1964 and a treaty to curb the spread of nuclear weapons. 3 years later, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty opened for signature. It began modestly with less than 60 parties, but today it is widely described as the cornerstone of the global nuclear order with 191 adherents. The third element of the global nuclear order came into existence in 1975. India had chosen not to sign the NPT, and in 1974 standard the world by conducting an underground feasible nuclear explosive (RPNE). Seven countries, the US, USSR, UK, Canada, France, Japan, and West Germany, held a series of meetings in London and concluded that ad hoc export controls were urgently needed to ensure that nuclear technology transport for peaceful purposes and not be used for PNEs. The London Club, as it was originally known, sounded inappropriate and later transformed into the Nuclear Suppliers Group, consisting of 48 countries today, which observe common guidelines for exporting nuclear and related dual use materials, equipment, and technologies. Though the Soviet Union and India enjoyed close relations, having signed the Indo-Soviet Friendship Treaty in 1971, the USSR was committed to upholding the GNO and a founding member of the London Club. The GNO has held reasonably well, particularly on two fronts. First, the taboo against nuclear weapons has held since 1945. It is a matter of debate how far the USSR arms control process helped preserve the taboo or whether it was just plain luck. But the fact is that humanity has survived 75 years of the nuclear age without blowing itself up. Second, non-proliferation has been a success. Despite dire predictions of more than 20 countries possessing nuclear weapons by the 1970s, there were five in 1968: the US, USSR, UK, France, and China. Only four countries have since gone nuclear, that is, India, Israel, North Korea, and Pakistan. Even after the Cold War ended, non proliferation remained a shared objective, and Moscow and Washington cooperated to ensure that Belarus, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan, that hosted Soviet nuclear weapons and possessed some capabilities, were denuclearized. In denuclearized. In 1995, the NPT, originally concluded for 25 years, was extended into perpetuity. Another counts, thus the record is mixed. Arms control did not hand the US USSR a nuclear race. In fact, their arsenal grew from 28,000 bombs in 1962 to over 65,000 bombs in the early 1990s. But the dialogue and some agreements provided a semblance of managing the arms race. Since the late 1980s, the US and Soviet arsenals have declined sharply to below 12,000 bombs today, though much of this can be attributed to the end of the Cold War rivalry and the breakup of the USSR. The two nuclear hegemons shared a notion of strategic stability based on assured second strike capability, guaranteed by the enormous arsenals that both had built up. This eliminated any incentive to strike first, ensuring a deterrence stability. Arms control negotiations led to parity in strategic capacities, creating a sense of arms race stability, and failed safe communication links provided crisis management stability. These understandings of nuclear deterrence in a bipolar world outlasted the Cold War but are under question. Changing geopolitics. Today's nuclear war is no longer a bipolar war. The US faces a more assertive China, determined to regain influence regionally and globally. This rivalry is different from the Cold War because both economies are closely intertwined and further, and China is an economic and technological peer rival. China has resented the US's naval presence in the South China and East China Seas and since the loss to Taiwan Strait crisis in 1996 has steadily built up its naval and missile capabilities. Changing geopolitics has taken its toll on the treaties between the US and Russia. In 2002, the US withdrew from the Anti Ballistic Missile Treaty and in 2019 from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty on the grounds that Russia was violating it. The only remaining agreement, the New START, will lapse in 2026. Its verification meetings were suspended during the COVID 19 outbreak and never resumed. Strategic stability talks began in 2021 following the Geneva meeting between President Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin but collapsed with the Ukraine war. Last year, Russia de-ratified the CTBT to bring it on a par with the US, raising concerns about the assumption of nuclear testing as US relations with Russia went into a nosedive. The US is facing a new situation of two nuclear fear rivals who are exploring new roles for more usable weapons. Moreover, a Russian nuclear submarine rattling to warn the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the US against escalation in Ukraine has revived nuclear concerns. The old definitions of strategic stability no longer hold. The Cold War convergence on non-proliferation has run its course. Also, nuclear weapons technology is a 75-year-old technology. The US has always had a pragmatic streak shaping its policy approaches. It turned a blind eye when Israel went nuclear in the 1960s to 70s and again. When China helped Pakistan with its nuclear program in the 1980s. More recently, the nuclear submarine AUKUS deal Australia, US, UK with Australia, a non-nuclear weapon state, is raising concerns in the NPT community. During the 1970s, South Korea began to actively consider a nuclear weapons program, spurred by the US withdrawal from Vietnam. However, France withdrew its offer to supply a pre-processing plant to South Korea under US pressure in 1975 to 76, and South Korea was persuaded to join the NPT. Recent opinion polls indicated 70% support for developing a national nuclear deterrent and 40% for reintroducing US nuclear weapons withdrawn in 1991 and on its territory. Between 1977 and 1988, the US actively subverted Taiwan's nuclear weapons program as it stepped up a normalization of ties with China. As a nuclear victim, the Japanese public retains a strong anti-nuclear state sentiment, but the shift visible in Japan's decision to double its defense spending over the next 5 years. And during the Cold War, the US nuclear umbrella tied its European allies closer. Today, domestic combinations are turning the US inwards, raising questions in the minds of its allies about its extended deterrence guarantees, especially in East Asia. Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan have the technical capabilities to develop an independent nuclear deterrent within a short time. Given political will, it is only a matter of time before US pragmatism reaches the inevitable conclusion that more independent nuclear deterrent capabilities may be the best way to handle the rivalry with China. The GNO is looking increasingly shaky. An India out plan that could impact the Maldives. The recent decision by the Maldives to revoke an agreement with India for giant hydrographic surveys in Maldivian waters has caused considerable dismal in Indian media and strategic circles. Anchored during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Islands in 2019, the pact was seen as a symbol of India-Maldives defense ties. The move by mail in mid December 2023 came a few weeks after the archipelagic state formally asked New Delhi to withdraw its Indian military presence from its shores, as if to emphasize its reservations about defense engagement with India. Mail also skipped the last latest meetings of the Colombo Security Conclave, also in December. That trust between India and the Maldives is at a low ebb is manifestly evident. Since the election of Mohammad Mauji as Maldivian president in November 2023, there has been a deliberate, a predictable attempt by Mail to create a distance with New Delhi. The Maldives would like the provider to believe that terminating the hydrography effect is a way of asserting its autonomy and agency. It is not, and far from balancing ties with India. Mail has thrown in its political lot with China. The Moisu administration's refusal to renew the hydrography fact seems less to do with the president's sensitivities about sovereignty than with its special relationship with Beijing. Getting Indian hydrographic ships out of Maldivian waters appears intended to aid China's marine surveys of the surrounding seas. The dual nature of hydrography. It is worth noting that hydrographic data inherently has a dual nature in that the information collected from the seas can be used for civilian and military purposes. Marine scientists maintain that the data helps advance non-military objectives such as ensuring navigational safety, marine scientific research, and environmental monitoring can also be used to facilitate military aims such as surveillance of a nation's vital coastal installations and war fighting assets. Even so, China is very unique in using its marine and seabed surveys to advance a largely strategic agenda. The country has an expensive oceanographic research program in which scientific research vessels, in particular the Xi'an class of oceanographic survey vessels and the Yuan Swang series of intelligence surveillance reconnaissance ships, were regularly deployed in the Indian Ocean. Their presence goes largely unnoticed, eclipsed by China's growing naval footprint. For China, our marine surveys are reconnaissance are critical enablers of the People's Liberation Army Navy's maritime strategy in the four seas. It is no happenstance that Chinese authorities approached Sri Lanka and the Maldives many times last year to allow the docking of marine research ships and China's surveys. Indian observers point out that China's ocean surveys play an important part in enhancing China's anti-submarine warfare capabilities, that mapping of the ocean's temperature profile and the study of other oceanic phenomena such as currents and eddies. The content it is meant to improve sonar performance and detection of enemy submarines. Studying the marine environment also aids in the development of systems that help Chinese submarines elude detection and fine-tune tactics for littoral combat. However, China's oceanographic surveys in the waters of friendly South Asian states are potentially hampered by the presence of Indian hydrographic ships in the area. Indian Navy, has the capability to track foreign ships' surface sensor activity. Chinese hydrographers suspect the Navy's operations in the waters of Indian Ocean Iceland states could interfere with China's own marine survey efforts. Meanwhile, speculation abounds in New Delhi of a Chinese plan to develop a naval base in the Maldives. In 2019, China planned an ocean observatory in Makunudo atoll, not far from India's Lakshadweep Islands. Maldivian opposition leaders had then expressed reservations about the observatory's potential military applications, including a provision for the submarine base. There is no evidence that China has revived that proposal, but recent developments suggest that the possibility cannot be discounted. Wales concerns. For its part, the Maldives has apprehensions about India's hydrographic activity being a form of intelligence collection. Its concerns are not entirely unfounded, not because Indian activity in Maldivian waters is suspect, but because the laws and legal frameworks governing hydrography are not different from the norms governing military service. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea does not explicitly authorize a coastal state to regulate hydrographic surveys or military surveys conducted behind its territorial sea. A littoral state may only regulate marine scientific research in its exclusive economic zone. By implication, foreign maritime agencies conducting hydrographic surveys are free to map the seas outside a coastal state's territorial waters. It is this prospect that Mail finds problematic. The discrepancy, though glaring outwardly, is better understood if one considers that the aim of hydrography is not to collect data about topography and geophysical processes for the sake of knowledge. Instead, it caters to a specific demand which can come either from marine ecologists, scientists, and the marine industry are military strategists and national security planners. That does not alter the reality that many navies, in particular India's, have an exemplary track record of hydrographic surveys in their neighborhoods. The Indian Navy has rendered hydrographic assistance to March seals since the 1990s, charting the vast marshes, jets, and helping build capacity, even assisting with the setting up of a hydrographic unit for skill development among Martian hydrographers. The best bet for the Maldives to enhance maritime awareness and security remains a partnership with India. The Miuzu administration must recognize that it is not India but China that seeks to weaponize ocean service. The eagerness for a strategic concert with Beijing, driven plainly by political conventions, could entail adverse consequences for Mali. Let's go to the next page. Growth signals. The indirect tax intake might be a bonanza despite some momentum loss. Faculty compensation issues with Aadhaar seeding are a headache for MG and RGS beneficiaries. Rajbhavan needs radical reforms. A train project not on track. The South Coast Railway Zone project is no way close to seeing the light of the day. Light of day. West Asian nations hold the highest number of Indians in jail abroad. OPs will try to import more from India. MHA seeks to specify truck drivers. Truckers strike sets of panic buying of fuel in several states. Drivers are protesting against longer jail terms in hit and run cases under new law. Still stands violent in Rajasthan. Three security personnel injured. Long queues seen at fuel stations in northern, western, and central states. Outlets ran dry at many places. Government brought laws without discussion, says Rahul. Stick to procedure in a counter-terror hooks. Breakup of Bihar caste survey data must be in public domain, says Judge. Seven security personnel injured in gunfight in Manipur's More. Rollout schedule of three criminal law by January 26th. ED conducts searches in micro loan fraud cases. Women's job can now nominate children over spouse pension. Pre-movement regime to hand at border. Ramesh writes to CEC seeks appointment for India bloc to convey its reviews on BBPAT. Opposition had positive resolution that there should be 100% matching of slips and EVMs. Congress leader says EC's clarification to Alliance memorandum on EVM related concerns was generic. We have been trying to meet with the EC to hand over the copy of India bloc's resolution and have a discussion but have not been successful so far in doing so. Jharkhand CM plans to resign, anoint his wife as CM, says BJP. US Congress stages a protest over IIT BHU rape case. Parliament breach. Neelam moves bill play in court. BJP chief Riche's meeting to discuss strategies for promoting inauguration are promptable. Either event should be unforgettable, says UPCM. ED conducts such as in a PMLB case against AAPMLE. Cancellation of India bloc's rally in Bhopal sent the wrong message. CAA rules may be notified before Lok Sabha election. The Citizenship Act was passed in 2019. In those from Pakistan who entered India legally but their documents expired while waiting for citizenship will also be eligible to apply in online, says officials. 15 agents are identified in illegal immigration case, Gujarat CID. 312 Quaid Asab in GN1 cases detected in country. Dalit women raped and hanged by constable in Agra. Too bad. A 25-year-old Dalit woman was raped and strangled allegedly by Uttar Pradesh police constable posted in Agra. Police here said on Tuesday. The woman's body was found hanging from the ceiling of the policeman's rented room on December 29th, 2023, they said. According to police, the woman had visited the constable room a day before the incident. Harkesh Singh, Assistant Commissioner of Police Chhattisgarh, said Raghavendra Singh, a police constable, has been arrested in the murder of a 25-year-old man, according to her brother. The two had taken a training for nursing in Jhansi and had been in touch since. After care of for special children, a court seeks central's response. SC to deliver verdict on plea for SIT probe in Adani case today. Police in SC challenge new law on appointment process for CAC ACs. SC issues notice to center on plea by a transformer teacher. Kunti's lament. Thousands evacuated following volcano eruption in Indonesia. Ethiopia, Somaliland reach agreement on port access. Turkey detains 33 accused of spying on behalf of Israel. Rohingyas refugees in Sri Lanka protest as closure of UN office. Gaza fight rages after Israel wants war will last all year. Russian missile strike over Ukraine's cities kill 4. Israel says her soldiers had killed dozens of terrorists, including some carrying explosives, and raided a weapon storage compound in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. Palestinian toll crosses 22,000. South Korean opposition leader stabbed in neck. Monster quake in Japan leaves 48 dead. Rescuers scramble in search of survivors. Park election subject to pre-election rigging. Coal output growth accelerated to a 6-month low in December, facing 5.6% sequential rise in dispatches to end users suggests electricity output may have recovered from November's lows. No, with the core sector growth seen slowing between December and February, coal finds to trend. Rupee may rise to 81.81 per dollar by December, having inflows hopes. HUL receives GST demand with penalties of 47.75 crore. Gold prices may touch about 70,000 per gram in per 10 gram in 2024. GJC. RBF lacks concern over credit information. India turns to Saudi as Russia oil buys fall. State-owned miner NMDC increases iron ore prices. Suga output to lag gap seen narrowing. Kabil to invest over 200 crore to secure lithium in Argentina. German firm calls G's sees growing demand for IK tech in India. Hamanjot was moved for face. Reflex catch reveals a Litchfield. Indian man conceded their highest score total in ODIs. We didn't perform to our potential, especially in fielding. Jamin Ma. The bang cut giants down to seize, extend unbeaten run to 4. Rohit and his man look to break the New Zealand's voodoo. Rohit puts the owners and batters to perform. There's still a lot of anger for Test cricket from the guys who are playing, says Elgar. Australia sweeps series Litchfield and Healy have a smashing day at the office. Australia eager to give Warner a fitting farewell, eyes clean a sweep against Pakistan. The visitors will be motivated to finish the series on a high and play party poopers. Ayub likely to replace face speared Shaheen. Quick guns and juggernaut share the honors again. One appeals for the return of his missing baggy green. Injured Djokovic takes Sabia to the last hit. This might be an inflection point in the game, but we need to care. The future is up to administrators making the right decisions for the players, says Dean Algo. The opener will turn out for South Africa for the final time in the test against India, which begins at New Zealand's on Wednesday. He is concerned about the status of the longest formats in his country. SCG braces for a fairy tale send up to David Warner. If I'm playing decent cricket in 2 years' time and I'm around and they need someone, I'm going to be available for the 2024 champions. A new science using physics to understand hate groups online. In a study published in Physical Reviewer Letters, scientists have reported being able to model the dynamics of how online hate communities form and develop using mathematical equations that describe the behavior of shock waves in fluids. Online hate communities are distinguished by the rapid growth in a process called fusions. The volcano tourists who have yet to catch eruptions on Iceland. Text and context. This is the last two pages, guys. A decrease in sugar output in October to December, 7.7 in percentage. Service extension for temporary doctors in Rajasthan, 735. Increase in India's mineral production in October 2023, 13.1%. Number of miners to cross a Darien gap in a bid to reach the US. Number of Myanmaris who just sent back to Mizoram. Bulach march from Tarbat to Islamabad. How has the death of Balach Mullah Baksh contributed to the escalation of the protest in Balochistan and marches to Islamabad? What significance does choosing Islamabad as the venue for protest hold? Considering the power dynamics between the provincial and national governments in addressing the Balochistan issue. Transforming narratives, unraveling India's transformation in slum definitions. The changing conceptualization of slums influenced government policies and approaches with varied perspectives from considering slums as an epidemic needing eradication to later viewing them as objects of technocratic solutions. Apple was incorporated on January 3rd, 1977. It is a quage on one of the largest companies in the world. Yes, this is the last page, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading. At least keep reading for the 2 hours in a day. It will make a really wonderful English communication. So I hope you guys would keep reading for 2 hours. And if you guys have any doubts or comments, don't forget to leave the comment in the comment box that I can come up with the solutions. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share with your friends. It may be useful for somebody to utilize the opportunities from the Akshara Dhare handwriting. And I can come up with updates related to job vacancies in different companies in future days. So see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.